back to Cameron Sports Podcast. I'm your host here, Cameron Lindsay, back with another episode. This week, of course, I got my weekly, daily college football picks in NFL for week 10 and 11, week 11 of the NFL season, week 12 of the college football season, and also going to be talking about who's the Heisman favorite for the 2023 college football season. And I'm also going to be talking about is CJ Stroud the MVP frontrunner, and is Josh Allen still elite, and should he be criticized the same way we criticize Dak Prescott? So those are some of the things we'll be talking about today on my episode, so let's get right into it. So for those you don't know, the top 4 candidates, at least right now, that's like in the Heisman. There's a couple more, but in my opinion, the top 4 Heisman candidates that's going to be named finalists is Jayden Daniels, quarterback, LSU, Michael Penix JR, quarterback out of Washington, Bo Nix, quarterback of the University of Oregon, and Marvin Harrison JR, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Now, each one of these players are very good players. They have incredible seasons. Except for Jayden Daniels, 3 of the 4 have a chance to make the college football playoff. And they're, like I said, each of them are balling. So like I wrote down their stats, so I could, in my opinion, decide who's the Heisman Trophy favorite. So I want to do that in this episode with y'all. So let's start with Jayden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Currently, Jayden Daniels has 3,164 passing yards with 30 touchdown passes and only 4 interceptions. And he has 918 rushing yards with 8 rushing touchdowns. LSU is currently 7-3, ranked 15th in the college football playoff rankings. Their last game against Florida, Jayden Daniels went 17-26 for 372 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. He had 12 carries for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns. He balled out in that game against Florida, and I think it needs to say that he should have a fair chance at the Heisman, because when Robert Griffin III won it, I think Baylor had like 3-4 losses when he won it. Well, Lamar won the Heisman. Louisville had like 3-4 losses also. So I think Jayden Daniels should have a fair shot at the Heisman. He should not be punished like with the NFL MVP. I feel like NFL, NBA, when it comes to because Heisman basically is an MVP award. When it comes to an award like that, yes, you should consider how the overall team is doing, but not too much. Like, it should be only like 5. They should consider that maybe 5-10%, and the rest should be that player. Like, how good is that player? Is he putting up MVP numbers? Is he the MVP of the league? If it's a team award, it should be most valuable team, not most valuable player. So, but yeah, LSU won that game 52-35 over Florida. And like I said, I think he should definitely have a fair shot at the Heisman Trophy at the end of the regular season. Next up, we got Michael Penix JR, quarterback out of Washington. Michael Penix current stats right now is 3,533 passing yards with 28 touchdown passes and only 7 interceptions. Washington is currently 10-0. They're ranked 5th in the college football playoff poll ranking, so they're just outside of the top 4 making it into the college football playoff. So luckily, like I said, we got this week and next week left, and then of course conference championships games. So Washington still got a chance to make it, and plus, like I said, they're undefeated. They just got most likely beat Oregon in a rematch in the Pac-12 championship game. Michael Penix, like I said, their last game was against Utah. Michael Penix went 24-42, 332 passing yards, 2 touchdown passes. They won 35-28 over number 18th ranked Utah. Like I said, Michael Penix Jr. has been balling all season. He was the favorite for majority of the season, but Jayden Daniels looks like he's caught up to him. Like I said, of course, Bo Nix has also. But let's get more to it. Let's get to Bo Nix now. Bo Nix, quarterback at the University of Oregon. His current stats are 3,135 passing yards with 29 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions. Oregon is 9-1 and they're ranked 6th in the college football playoff rankings, so just right behind Washington. Their only loss was against Washington. They would have won that game, but head coach Dan Lanning made a bad call going for it on 4th down when they should have punted the ball. So Oregon most likely would have won that game against Washington, but it is what it is. Oregon's last game was against USC. They went, Bo Nix went 23 of 31 for 412 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. They won 36-27. Like I said, I'll say one thing: Bo Nix has definitely revamped his career in college football. Because when he was the 3 years he was at Auburn, I didn't see this coming. Like he was like average, probably average to below average. But him transferring to Oregon has really transformed his career. Like if he would have stayed at Auburn, he probably would have been maybe a 6th round, 7th round draft pick, or maybe undrafted. Now they got him listed in the pre-NFL draft. Pre-NFL draft that Bo Nix is most likely will be a 1st round pick. So I think likely so. Not saying he's elite, but he's done enough to be a 1st round pick in the 2024 NFL draft. Next up, we got Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State. His current stats are he has 59 catches for 1,063 yards and 12 touchdown catches. Ohio State is currently 10-0, ranked number 2 in the college football playoff, right behind Georgia. Their last game was against Michigan State. Marvin Harrison had 7 catches for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. They won 38-3. Now, and of course, Marvin Harrison Jr. became the first receiver at Ohio State to have multiple with 1,000-yard seasons. So congratulations to him. So basically, looking at these stats even before filming this episode with y'all and going through this right now, I made my decision who I think the Heisman favorite is right now. I would have to go. It'll probably have to be between Jayden Daniels and Bo. I feel like it's Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., then Marvin Harrison. So I'm gonna have to go Jayden Daniels as the Heisman Trophy favorite. Even though LSU has 3 losses, they're not gonna make the college football playoff. They're not even going. They're not making the SEC championship game because Alabama clinched the SEC West. But he's putting up incredible stats. Think about it. He has over 3,000 passing yards, 30 touchdown passes, only 4 interceptions. He almost has 1,000 rushing yards, and he has 8 rushing touchdowns. So he's putting up incredible numbers. Like I said, now of course I think Bo Nix definitely has a great shot because Oregon only has 1 loss. If Oregon wins this week's game, they will win this week's game. They also beat Oregon State and win the Pac-12 championship. I think Bo Nix will have a great argument to most likely pass Jayden Daniels and win the Heisman. Michael Penix Jr. still, like I said, he has a great shot. Well over 3,000 passing yards, 28 touchdown passes, only 7 picks. Like I said, if Washington wins their last 2 games and win the Pac-12 championship, Michael Penix Jr., I think most likely will win it then. Marvin Harrison Jr., possibly, I think it's a good case. Like, besides the Heisman, I think he, by far, is the best receiver in the country. I think he's going to be a Heisman Trophy favorite. He got a shot. Like I said, if Ohio State beats Michigan, wins the Big Ten championship, then you can't leave out Marvin Harrison. Then, So, but either way, I think he's arguably the best player in college football, regardless of the Heisman. So, like I said, getting the Heisman Trophy doesn't automatically really mean you're the best player, because it's kind of more like a quarterback award, really. The last non-quarterback to win the Heisman was Devontae Smith out of Alabama. a couple years ago, so it's possible. If Devontae Smith can do it, I know Marvin Harrison Jr. can do it. Like I said, so. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Jayden Daniels as right now the Heisman Trophy favorite with a couple weeks left before the regular season ends. But yeah, now let's get into my Week 12 predictions for the 2023 college football season. First up, we got Michigan 10-0 versus Maryland 6-4. Michigan right now is going through their little scandal. Last week, Jim Harbaugh found out he's suspended for the last 3 games of the season. I think he has a hearing tomorrow to appeal this decision, so I don't know if he's going to coach. But regardless, if he doesn't, I'm gonna go with Michigan because one, they got a better team. They like what they did to Penn State. They ran the ball like crazy. I think J.J. McCarthy only passed for like 60+ yards, and the Michigan really is a run the ball team first. They run the ball first, and Blake Corum is an incredible running back. They got a incredible 1-2 punch at running back. So even though Maryland is a good team, they got Tua's younger brother who's a really good quarterback. But I just think Michigan is the better team. They got a better defense. They got the best defense in the Big Ten, in my opinion. The stats can almost back it up also. But yeah, regardless of if Jim Harbaugh coaches this weekend, I'm going with Michigan over Maryland. Next up, we got number 10 Louisville 9-1 versus Miami 6-4. Now Miami did play a close game against Florida State, so this could be a trap game for Louisville. Like I said, they got a chance to make the college football playoff. I feel like they'll need some help though. If Florida State stays at 4 and Louisville plays Florida State in the college football playoff, depending on what happens to everybody else, they can possibly make it. Even though I don't think that it's a lot of chaos, y'all. It's a lot. I have to make an episode about that. Whenever the final rankings are about to come out after the conference championship games, it's gonna be a lot. But I'm gonna go with Louisville, and probably in a close one because, like I said, I think this could be a trap game. Even though Miami is not a great team, they're at home. I know Louisville looks forward to playing Florida State in the ACC championship game, and possibly a chance at the college football playoffs. So I think they got to be careful if they still want a chance to make the playoff. Next up, we got Rutgers 6-4 versus number 12 Penn State. I'm gonna go Penn State. They coming off a loss against Michigan. Even though the scores seemed closer, but that game was mostly dominated. Don't let the score fool y'all. Michigan dominated pretty much majority of that game. Like Penn State didn't really score till the end. It was kicking field goals for the most part, but Michigan dominated that game. But I'm gonna go Penn State over Rutgers. Now I will say, I don't know. Part of me kind of feel like maybe it's time to move on from James Franklin at Penn State, because think about it, the Big Ten is going to get harder next year. You got Oregon and Washington joining the Big Ten next year. That's going to be, and there's no conference. There are no more divisions in the Big Ten no more. So now Penn State's going to have to deal with, of course, Michigan. I don't know I have to look at the schedule, but on a daily basis, I have to deal with Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington. Oh, USC and UCLA, my fault. So Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC are joining the Big Ten now. So that's going to make it harder for Penn State. Like I said, James Franklin's a good coach, but I feel like it might be time to move on and start something new. Like they need something fresh to get over the hump. Next up, we got number 14, Oklahoma 8-2 versus BYU 5-5. I'm gonna go Oklahoma, one, because they did beat my West Virginia Mountaineers badly, about 30+ points. I knew Oklahoma would win that game. I didn't think it would probably be that bad though, but it is what it is. And plus, West Virginia, we blew out BYU, so I expect Oklahoma to do the same thing to BYU as we did to them. Next up, we got number 22, Utah 7-3 versus number 17 Arizona 7-3. Both of these teams are. I also one thing, the Pac-12 is loaded. This may be the last year of the Pac-12 conference, but it's a very, very loaded conference. I have to go back and forth with this game. But I'm going to go Arizona. Arizona has been pretty solid against ranked teams. They have upsetted UCLA. They upsetted, who else they upsetted? It was somebody else. But I'm thinking I'm going Arizona. If it was at Utah, I'll go Utah because it's hard to beat Utah at home. But I'm going to go Arizona. They have been pretty good this year, surprisingly. I did not see them coming. Of course, both Arizona and Utah join the Big 12 next year. So that'll be pretty interesting. But I'm going to go with Arizona right now, slightly over Utah. Next up, we got number 1 Georgia, 10-0 versus number 18 Tennessee, who's 7-3. I would have this game highlighted, but I don't know. I don't really trust Joe Milton. I think Georgia's the better team. Brock Bowers is back. He looked pretty from his injury in that game against Ole Miss. He seemed pretty right. His ankle seems pretty fine. So, like I said, now with their best player back, I think Georgia is going to be rolling into the ACC championship game against Alabama. I wish I could go to the game, but the tickets are high, y'all. I can go, I can get it, but ooh, I ain't paying that much for it. I watch it on TV like the rest of y'all. But I'm gonna go Georgia over Tennessee. Like I said, Georgia dominated this game last year at home. I expect them to probably most likely dominate this game this year again. And that's when they had Hendon Hooker. So and Jalen Hyatt. So I expect Georgia to dominate Tennessee. Next up, we got Illinois 5-5 and number 16 Iowa 8-2. I'm gonna go Iowa. Iowa shut out Rutgers last week. Like I said, I think it looks like they got a chance to make the Big Ten championship game against either Ohio State or Michigan. So I expect Iowa to handle business against Illinois. Next up, we got Wake Forest 4-6 versus number 19 Notre Dame 7-3. I'm gonna go Notre Dame. This would be Sam Hartman playing against his former team. He's a transfer from Wake Forest. He spent like 5 years there at Wake Forest, so I expect him to have a good game playing against his former team in Wake Forest. Next up, this is my first game I got highlighted. Number 20 North Carolina 8-2 versus Clemson 6-4. I got this game highlighted because, well, last week Clemson did upset Notre Dame at home. So it looks like Clemson maybe got their groove back a little bit. And, North Carolina got Drake May and Mac Brown, who's arguably one of the best coaches in college football. So I think this could be a pretty good game this week. It'd be Drake May versus Cade Klubnik. That Clemson defense is playing good, especially with true freshman T.J. Parker, Phoenix City, Alabama, and Peter Woods, another freshman. So I think I have to go. This would be a close. I think this would be a good game, but I might have to go with North Carolina over Clemson slightly. Not saying North Carolina is a way better team, but I still don't trust Clemson all that well this year. They've been really up and down all year. Next up, got Minnesota 5-5 versus number 2 Ohio State 10-0. I'm going Ohio State. Not gonna waste some time with that. Clearly the better team. I think they're going to try to put away Minnesota so they can get ready for Michigan next weekend. Next up, we got number 21 Kansas State 7-3 versus number 25 Kansas 7-3. This is my second game I got highlighted. Both these teams are in-state rivals. Kansas State have dominated Kansas the past 10 plus years now, but I'm gonna have to go with Kansas. I think Kansas finally gets the win over Kansas State this year in a close one. Like I said, if it was at Kansas State, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to go with Kansas over Kansas State slightly. Third game I got highlighted, number 5 Washington 10-0 versus number 11 Oregon State 8-2. If Oregon State wants a chance at the Pac-12 championship game, they're gonna have to beat Washington and Oregon their last 2 games. But I'm going to go with the better quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. Even though DJ Uiagalelei, the transfer from Clemson, has been playing really good this year, I'm going to have to go Washington slightly over Oregon State. Like I said, the better quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., like I said, he's having a really good season. They won't have a chance to make the college football playoff. They want a chance to win the Pac-12 championship game, so they have to win this game against Oregon State and the game against Washington State next week. But But yeah, I got that game highlighted. Like I said, the Pac-12 has been, in my opinion, the best conference this season. By far. I know the SEC overall usually is the best conference, but not this year. The Pac-12 has been the best conference this year, all year. Next up, we got Florida 5-5 versus number 9 Missouri 8-2. I'm gonna go Missouri. I'll say one thing. I'm happy for Missouri. They being ranked this high. I did, like I said again. I know before I said it multiple times throughout many episodes I did this season. I did not see this coming from Missouri. But I guess recruiting, the transfer portal has been doing pretty good. If it probably wasn't for Georgia, Missouri. I think matter of fact, Missouri. Funny thing, Missouri is the one team that's played Georgia the closest the past 2 years. Not Alabama, not Tennessee, nobody. Like Missouri has played Georgia the toughest the last 2 years. Because last year they literally almost beat Georgia at home, and then this year they only lost 30-21. So not that bad. They back-to-back year. I think next year they probably might get Georgia. They might get Georgia next year. But yeah, I'm gonna go to Missouri over Florida, and then lastly, Cincinnati 3-7 versus West Virginia 6-4. I'm gonna go with my West Virginia Mountaineers. This is my 4th game I got highlighted. I'm proud of my former school. Even though I'm not an alumni, I did go there for a year, but that's still my favorite team, school. Like I said, we're bowl eligible. I'm proud of them. Like I said, I didn't expect to win a Big 12 championship this year. Now next year, I expect us to compete for one. With Texas and Oklahoma leading for the SEC, I expect West Virginia, especially now that we got a quarterback in Garrett Green. We got some weapons on offense. CJ Donaldson, another freshman running back, White, another freshman, and I forgot his name. But Rodney Gallagher, freshman receiver. So we got some weapons, and we got a solid defense. Not perfect, but solid. Like I said, Garrett Green's not the best quarterback, but he's good enough, solid. So I think we can have a team to compete for the Big 12 championship next year, even with Buffalo, Utah, Arizona State joining the Big 12 next year. But I still think we have a chance to compete for the Big 12 championship game next year. So, but y'all let me know, out of these picks that I wrote down, who y'all got. Again, my 4 highlighted games I'll be paying attention to the most is North Carolina versus Clemson, Kansas State and Kansas, Washington versus Oregon State, and Cincinnati versus West Virginia. Those are my 4 games. And also, again, I got Jayden Daniels as the Heisman favorite right now, with Bo Nix in 2nd, Michael Penix Jr. 3rd, and Marvin Harrison Jr. 4th. Those are my top 4 Heisman contenders. The next 2 I probably would say you could consider is maybe a Jalen Milroe, Alabama, but I don't think so. I just don't. But now let's get into some NFL talk right now. Like I said again, I wrote down a question. I'm trying to figure out, is CJ Stroud an MVP front runner? And I answered I wrote down yes, and here's why. CJ's stats so far this season, he has 2,626 passing yards, 15 touchdown passes, and only 2 interceptions. Texans are currently 5-4. CJ's his last 2 games, he's thrown for 826 passing yards combined, 7 touchdown passes combined, 2 game-winning drives. The first game-winning drive in 2 weeks ago, it was 40 seconds left on the clock versus Tampa Bay. They was trailing 37-33. The Bucs had just scored. There's only 40 seconds left, and he led a game-winning drive with a touchdown pass to fellow rookie Tank Dell out of Houston. Last week, in a game-winning drive, with a minute left against the Bengals on the road, tied 27-27. After he just threw a pick, and Cincinnati ended up tying the game. He ended up leading the Texans down the field with a minute left and kicking the game, and they kicked the game-winning field goal to win that game. Their next game against Arizona, who's 2-8. Now, I will say before last week, I was like, when people were saying CJ Stroud is an MVP, should he be in the MVP conversation? I was like, not yet, because really the Texans are 4-4, so it's like, and when he is a rookie, so it's pretty hard to win a MVP as a rookie. Like I said, the last to do it was Jim Brown, the late great Jim Brown, his rookie year in Cleveland in the 50s. So it's pretty hard, but after these last 2 weeks, I said, you know what? It's finally. I think he finally deserves to be in MVP conversation, and he has to be the MVP front runner right now. He's second in the league in passing yards. He's first in pass touchdowns and interception ratio. So he has 15 touchdown passes, only 2 interceptions. He's leading the league in passing yards per game. So I think it's fair enough to put C.J. Stroud in as a front runner, because the Texans were horrible last year. They had the second overall and third overall. They traded for the third overall pick, but they had the second overall pick last year. They're 5-4. They got the Arizona Cardinals. I think they'll beat them, and they're going to be 6-4. So this is another game for CJ to ball out and prove that he's an MVP candidate. As far as Rookie of the Year, I think he got that locked. He got that on lock. That's over. So I think CJ Stroud right now, you have to fairly put him in at least in the MVP conversation. But I got him as the favorite right now. Again, that doesn't mean he'll win it, but right now in the season, he's the front runner for MVP, CJ Stroud. No, I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he's top 10 already. Now, as far as this season, he is top 10, but overall, no. But yeah, I think I might, like I said again, I have to go CJ Stroud, yes. All right, my second question is like I said before, is Josh Allen still an elite, and should he be criticized just like Dak Prescott? I'm gonna go barely. I think he's barely still elite, and yes, he should be criticized just like Dak Prescott. And here's why. Josh Allen's stats so far this season, he's 2,600 passing yards with 19 touchdown passes and 11 interceptions. The Bills are 5-5. They lost the game against Denver 24-22 at home. In that loss, he went 15-26, 177 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and I think a fumble to go with. Dak's, compared to Josh Allen, Dak's stats this season are over 2,400 passing yards, 17 touchdown passes, only 6 interceptions. The Cowboys are 6-3. Like I said, now I'm not gonna go ahead and just say, Josh Allen is not elite, because he got talent. Like he can ball out, but at the same time, he's a turnover machine. It's kind of like if he stays elite, he's gonna be like a Brett Favre. Like Brett Favre was an all-time leader in passing yards. He's an all-time leader in picks. So, but it's like, I feel like the Bills have reached their ceiling. Their Super Bowl window is closed. I think Stephon should ask for a trade. I think if I could see it happening after the season over. If they miss the playoffs or even lose in the first round, I think most likely, even if they do make the playoffs, they'll probably lose in the first round. I think he should ask for a trade. I think he will sometime during the offseason, because he hit his ceiling. Like, there's no further you can go. He's a top 5 receiver. I think he should get out of Buffalo. If I know his brother, even his brother Trayvon Diggs, corner for the Dallas Cowboys, said free 14. It's possible he could join his brother in Dallas. Now, I feel like if he was too, him and CD, 2 top 10 receivers, Dallas would definitely have the best receiver duo in the league. But yeah, I think Josh Allen is barely elite, just slightly. He hanging on. He just cannot stop turning the ball over. But I'm gonna say he definitely should be criticized, just like we criticized Dak Prescott. Dak is a good quarterback, but he's not elite. And Josh has had he just can't get over the hump. He can't beat Mahomes in the playoffs. He can't beat Burrow in the playoffs. So it is what it is. And I don't think right now the Bills' schedule is really hard. After this week, it's going to get worse. So I can see the Bills missing the playoffs this year. But let's get into Week 11 predictions. My first highlighted game, the Bengals 5-4 versus Ravens 7-3. This is a Thursday night football game. I think I'm going to have to go with the Ravens slightly. I think the Ravens, of course, they want to bounce back from that loss against Cleveland, letting the Browns come back and winning that game. I think the Ravens are a better team now. The Bengals, they did lose. I think they lost. Did they lose against the Bengals last time? I think they did, possibly. But I think Lamar's going to have a good game. He's going to ball out. He's going to try to get back into the MVP conversation. Next up, we got the Steelers 6-3 versus the Browns 6-3. I'm going to go with the Steelers because with Deshaun Watson being out for the rest of the season because he having shoulder surgery on his throwing arm. And again, with that, I think the Browns should start considering regretting that contract. They should probably talk to him to restructure it. Now, if I was him, of course, I wouldn't do it because it's a lot of money. But I don't know. It'll be he hasn't been the same since he left Houston. He hasn't played football in it will be 3 years now. So, yeah. Next up, we got the Cardinals 2-8 versus the Texans 5-4. I'm going to go with the Texans, especially being at home. Even though Kyler Murray is back, he led the Cardinals in the comeback win against the Falcons, but that's the Falcons, though. The Texans are a better team. They got a better quarterback. Their defense is pretty solid, especially with rookie pass rusher Will Anderson out of Alabama. I think this is going to be a game that C.J. Stroud solidifies himself as the MVP front runner, at least so far. So I'm going to go Texans over Cardinals. Next up, we got the Raiders 5-5 against the Dolphins. Now, the Raiders have been hot with their intern coach, Antonio Pierce. But I think the Dolphins are hungry coming off their bye week, coming off a loss against the Chiefs and Germany a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, their bye week. So, I'm going to go Dolphins big over the Raiders. I think this will be Antonio Pierce's first loss as an interim head coach, and the Dolphins will get back on track. This next game, I'm not going to waste no time. I'm going to go Cowboys over the Panthers. Cowboys are 6-3. Panthers are 1-8, the worst team in the league. This game not even going to be close. Cowboys going to put up probably about 30 points by the early second quarter. I feel bad for Bryce Young. It's going to be an ugly game, even at home for them. Next up, we got the Bears 3-7 versus the Lions. I'm not going to waste no time. I'm going to go Lions. Lions had a win over Chargers. Not surprised. I knew it would be a close game, but the Chargers defense is bad. The Bears are bad, so I'm going Lions over Bears. Next up, we got the Chargers 4-5 versus the Packers 3-6. This game, even though it's my Chargers, I'm not sure because Jordan Love has been playing bad. Our defense has been playing bad, but Justin Herbert has been playing good. So I'm gonna go Chargers slightly over Packers. Even though I'm not really confident in this pick, but I don't trust Jordan Love and the Packers even worse. Next up, we got the Giants 2-8 versus the Commanders 4-6. Last time the Giants did beat the Commanders at home, it was an ugly loss, but this time they won't have Tyrod Taylor or even Daniel Jones, who's off for the season. And Commanders are playing a little bit better, so I'm going to go Commanders. Sam Howell is leading the league in passing yards, so he's playing pretty decently. They almost won against the Seahawks, like literally on the road, so I'm going to go Commanders over the Giants. Next up, we got the Buccaneers 4-5 versus the 49ers 6-3. I'm going to go 49ers. I think this is going to be a bad game for the Bucs. I feel bad for Baker. The 49ers are back on track after losing 3 games in a row and coming off their bye week. They dominated the Jaguars on the road. Clearly, they played phenomenal football. Deebo Samuel is back. Trent Williams is back from injury, so they got a couple of their best players on offense back. So him, they got C-Mac. Of course, they got Brandon Ayuk, and Brock Purdy's playing better now. So the 49ers will dominate Tampa Bay at home. Next up, we got the Jets 4-5 versus the Bills 5-5. I could go back and forth with this game, but I'm going to go Bills. I just don't trust Zach Wilson. I trust the Jets defense. Now, if the Jets win this game, would it surprise me? No, because Josh Allen is a turnover machine. So I'm going to go Bills slightly over the Jets because I feel like somehow, some way, Josh Allen is going to keep the Jets in this game, literally, like by force. He's going to keep them in the game. Next up, we got the Seahawks 6-3 versus the Rams 3-6. Last time these teams met, the Rams upset the Seahawks on the road. But I think the Seahawks will bounce back. The Seahawks and Rams usually split. So I'm going to go Seahawks slightly over the Rams. Geno Smith should have a decent game. And they should run the ball. I think they're slightly over the Rams. This next game is my first game of two games that got highlighted. First up, the Vikings 6-4 versus the Broncos 4-5. I know the Broncos are not really good, but they're on a hot streak right now. They won, I think they won four in a row now. 4 games in a row. They beat the Bills on the road. The Vikings are playing pretty well. Joshua Dobbs only been with the team for 3.5 weeks. So this could be a pretty interesting game. If the Broncos win this game, they're back in playoff contention. They could possibly make the playoffs. Russell Wilson is playing much better than he did last year. So this could be something for the Broncos to get a win like this. Or the Vikings, because really both of these teams have started off bad. The Vikings were 0-3, 1-4, and not even losing Kirk Cousins due to injury for the season. Joshua Dobbs is now the quarterback, and now they're right now in the wild card spot. So, but this is a close one. I think I'm gonna have to go slightly Vikings over Denver, just slightly. Like I said, I think the Vikings got a recipe. Justin Jefferson might be back. I think. I'm not completely sure, but I think the Vikings are the better team than Denver. Even though Denver got the better quarterback. I'm just going to go with Minnesota. In the second game that I got highlighted, second and last game I got highlighted, it's a Super Bowl rematch between the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 8-1, versus the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 7-2. This is a Monday Night Football game to end Week 11. Now, the Chiefs did beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl earlier this year. Last season, 38-35, with a pass interference called on James Bradbury, holding Juju Smith-Schuster, who's now with the Patriots. Like I said, the Eagles do got a hard schedule. Like I said, but they've been finding ways to win. The Eagles haven't been playing their best football. Jalen Hurts either, but it's not about how you begin the season or in the middle of the season. It's about how you do. It's about playing your best football towards the end of the season. That's what it matters, playing your best football towards the end of the season, because you're going to be headed to the playoffs. You want momentum heading into the playoffs. If you play your best football early and then take your foot off the gas and the end of the season, it's over. It's over. So, but this is going to be a good game. The Chiefs receivers haven't been playing that well, but they still got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. But I feel like the Eagles are going to be motivated, especially losing the Super Bowl like they did. Now, I know the secondary is not the same. The pass rush didn't really get to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So I expect them to make the pass rush play a little bit better, hopefully. The secondary, I don't know. But it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to rock with the Eagles. I think the Eagles get the win in Kansas City and prove that they're the best team, not only in the NFC, but the whole NFL. But yeah, I like I said, that's gonna be my favorite game. I'm definitely gonna be watching Monday Night Football. I'll be on Thanksgiving break, so I get to relax and watch some football. But yeah, like I said, I think again, Josh Allen is elite, just barely, but I think he does deserve the same criticism we give Dak Prescott. Like I said, now I like Dak, but he's not my favorite quarterback. But I will say he deserves the criticism because he does play for the most valuable franchise in all of sports, the Dallas Cowboys. So, even when Tony Romo was a starting quarterback, he got criticized. So, and the Cowboys haven't been to the Super Bowl in over 30 years. So, they haven't even been to the NC Championship game in over 30 years. So, but I think it's time for us to start criticizing Josh Allen more and questioning, is he still elite? I got barely. But I can see the Bills missing the playoffs. And again, I got Jayden Daniels as my Heisman Trophy front runner right now, slightly over Bo Nix and slightly over Michael Penix Jr. with Marvin Harrison Jr. in fourth. I know some people got Jalen Milroe in contention. Technically, yeah, but I think that's due to more Alabama, not his stats. So, yeah. But I appreciate y'all tuning in for another episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. I'm your host here, Cameron Lindsay. Again, a last favor, if y'all can, subscribe. I'm only 34 subscribers away from 200 by the end of the year. Like I said, I think 200 would be a good number to hit my first year. Only 1 year doing YouTube. Because around this time last year, I started this channel. And I think 200 would be good. Next year, I'm going to try to shoot for 500 to 600. Get closer to 1,000. Like, maybe even 1,000. So, but we'll see. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll catch y'all next time on another episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. I'm your host here, Six Pack Cam, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all stay blessed.